So as you may know, I've spent many years optimizing and ranking Google business profiles. So if you're serious about getting traffic to your business using Google Maps, then you're in the right place. And I've recently been working on this video because I want it to be the real go-to place for my subscribers if they want to know how to rank #1. And the aim of this video is to just make it simple, crystal clear, so that you can see exactly what you need to do to then hit the right spot when it comes to your business. In effect, we want customers out there to find your business when they search on Google. And what I'm going to cover is worth far more than some of the courses that are out there. So if you appreciate the value of this, do give it a like or a comment, and that will just show your appreciation for this. So I've been web designing for over 24 years now, and as I've worked along with clients and built their websites and optimized using SEO and Google business profiles, I've noticed many keep making the same mistakes. And this video is going to address those mistakes too. And then repeating those same mistakes, they wonder why they don't get found in Google. So make sure you hang around to the end of this video, because at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you the top 3 factors that Google uses in its algorithm. And to keep it simple for any level of business, I've produced a very simple Venn diagram. So I'm going to explain what these 3 areas are and how, where they overlap, that's the sweet spot that you need to aim for if you want to rank #1 in Google's algorithm. And it's here you'll find the customers that are looking for you, the customers that your business deserve. And then once those signals are sent back to Google, Google will start to rank you higher, and you'll continue to get this ongoing snowball effect as you keep hitting that sweet spot. So let's jump into that first section that we've called layout. And we need to first of all understand, what does it mean? And it's been particularly confusing because Google's changed a lot recently on the layout. The second area we're going to look at is that of the Google themselves changing things. They've made some dramatic changes in the last year. So as we go into the new year, you need to know all the changes, because if you don't know what those changes were, the chances are you'll find older videos that actually tell you to do the wrong thing. And finally then, the real gem of it all is the algorithm itself. And we go into some real detail on that. So we'll look forward to seeing what those key things are that you can do with your profile to improve in the algorithm. And when these 3 things overlap, they come together, as you can see there in the center, you then have that sweet spot. And that's what we're going to aim for by the end of this video, is that we know exactly what needs to be done. And if you can hit that spot every time, then you'll find that month after month, you'll be shown in Google results, you'll be getting a lot more calls, a lot more interest. So this first section about layout is never spoken of by anyone else. And I think this is really important. Understanding what is it that Google actually is currently experimenting with. It's easy to presume that Google's layout on the Google Knowledge Panel, or the actual information it presents when people do a search for your business, is easy to conclude that it's always the same thing. But actually, if you start observing the changes, Google's constantly changing these things. So one minute you'll find that the social media isn't there, next minute it is. Another time you'll find a Facebook link is there, then it's not. You'll find that products appear, then they don't. You'll find that images or photos appear, then suddenly they no longer appear. Probably the only thing that's consistent is the area you serve, the logo you have, and maybe some information about your profile. Even some questions and answers can come and go from time to time. So are you aware that there's constant changes in the layout? So see what's current is the first thing to do. The second thing to do is then experiments as well. So you might want to try different formats, different ways of presenting the offers or the posts. Do it with text, without text. You might find using, say, a different call to action, like a call, a phone number, rather than a link to a website or to booking. See what works for your business, because by experimenting, you'll learn that certain types of businesses do better with certain types of call to action. Now, when I say experiments daily, Google also does experiments. So they also will try with these layouts, they'll try different ways of presenting the layouts. So if you look on Google Maps, if you look on Google when you do a search, how that information is presented will make a difference too. So they might be rewarding certain things. So if you can tap into that, that will make a difference. So the third point here, and this is the most important point I'm going to make, is do make sure that you get everything about your information, your business, consistent and in the algorithm itself. In effect, Google's got a database on your business. Just because it doesn't show your questions and answers or your products and the categories of your products, just because it doesn't show the social profiles of your YouTube channel or your LinkedIn channel, doesn't mean it doesn't have that information to show tomorrow. And this is the big mistake people make. They seem to just think that unless it's being shown today, then it's not necessary to put in. So I would go through and put in everything, get your business profile as complete as possible, and you'll find then that when it changes things tomorrow, you've got the advantage over the others in your competition. And two other little mistakes when it comes to layouts is don't just presume that because the layout is a certain way in your country means it's the same in all other countries. Google experiments based on country level, and even experiments, as you can see here, also on category level. So it could be that in the same country as you get different layouts. A restaurant will have a different presentation to, say, how a motor mechanic has it or a gardener has it. So don't just assume that all Google business profiles are presented equally in their layout. So there's lots of things there about Google's layout or knowledge panel that most people haven't realized. And it'd be good to just, again, bear that in mind next time you update your profile. So now you understand that layouts change and that there's variants of those layouts. The second area is now to understand Google themselves. Google's made a huge amount of changes in the last 12 months. In fact, Google makes changes every single day. So for example, we used to speak about the Google Business Profile app, or we used to call it the Google My Business app. You won't find it any longer. But what you do need to bear in mind is the Google Business Profile app. Although it's not available, you can do most of those things now using the Google Map app. So you just go to Google Map on your mobile and you can fill in the information. Just search for your business there, or you can go to Google search for your business, or type in my business. And whether you're on a mobile or whether you're on a laptop or a desktop, you should be able to then start to fill out the relative information. And while you're there, look to see again what layouts is Google presenting if you're a customer visiting your business. Now, one of the things also Google said that they wouldn't remove the manager part of Google Business Profile, or Google My Business as it was. Well, they did remove it. They've removed it just this week. So bearing in mind again, Google is not actually necessarily going to fulfill some of the promises that it made in the past. Google's trying to simplify it, but what is Google actually after? Well, they want you to put the right information in. And so they're trying to make it easier. They're seeing that actually people don't update their business unless it's there in front of their very eyes. I gave a tip on a different video where I suggested that you bookmark your business entry so that when you open up your browser, first thing in the morning, your business comes up and you can just see if there's anything that Google's particularly wanting about information about your business. You can fill it in. And in that way, then you're constantly keeping up to date and you're doing it at a time when you first open up your browser in the morning of business. Now, another thing they've changed is the insights. The insights no longer have all the information about photographs and views. It's simplified. It's actually not as particularly helpful because you can only go back about 3 to 6 months of your insight information. But having said that, it does give you still what keywords are working. And it also gives you some information about what types of devices people are finding you on. And this is a key thing you still need to think in terms of if you're presenting to your clients as if they're on desktops, and yet if, say, 70% of them are using mobiles to track you down, and they're using, say, search or Google Maps to find your business, then you might just want to think in terms of looking at it from their perspective and then appealing to what they're looking for. So do use insights because it will give you another glimpse into the area that Google's currently rewarding you and tying up with your customers on. Now, because there's been so much confusion recently where there's been name changes, there's been a change to the app. So just to be clear, that it used to be Google Places or Local Places. That was years ago. That then changed to Google My Business, and most business owners kind of got on board with that and it seemed to be working quite nicely. But Google were not convinced that people were keeping it up to date. So in the last year, they've now changed from Google My Business to Google Business Profile. And yet actually the information it's presenting is pretty much the same. We are seeing some extra things being released, but you will find that editing it is a lot easier And I did a video recently that showed the importance of keeping it up to date, but also showed why you should actually find it easier. But I think the majority of people at the moment still aren't doing what Google's asked. So now's the time to get ahead, get used to the new layout, the new user interface, and I think you'll find that that will also help you reach that sweet spot, get to number one, and get ranking in Google's algorithm. Now for the final area, I got to this point and realised there's a lot more information here that I want to present to you, and I don't want to rush through it. But earlier in the video I did mention that I would share with you the top 3 factors that Google's currently rewarding in the algorithm. And that is your primary category, the proximity of where the search is coming from, and keywords in the title, which is something that I think is going to disappear very soon because it's still considered a useful tool by spammers. But all those areas are extremely important, along with 17 other areas that I want to go into a bit more detail on. So if you now head over to this video, it's going to reveal the 20 things that the algorithm is rewarding at the moment. And when you add those 20 things to the Google section and the layout, you then hit that sweet spot. So I'll see you on this video.